That's part of the game. There's frustrations that rise. Fever guard Lexie Hull addresses the heated exchange between Caitlin Clark and head coach Stephanie White during Indiana's loss to Portland. This happened on Saturday. From Saturday to Monday, they called the people that they needed to call. They said, hey, we're going to get Lexie Hull on here, and she's going to calm all of this down.
That is the Indiana Fever trying to calm things down. After Saturday's game, the team quickly had someone speak to the media on Monday. They chose Lexie Hull, the teammate many fans believe is closest to Caitlin Clark. So the big question is, what were they trying to make people stop talking about?
Stephanie White, Caitlin Clark, yelling at each other on the sidelines. We all see the speculation. The noise around this team is as loud as it's ever been. I haven't even seen it this loud during her rookie season. It all started on the
sideline. Caitlin Clark and head coach Stephanie White were seen going back and forth during Indiana's loss to Portland on Saturday. The video quickly spread across social media over the weekend. Fans started talking, making guesses, and criticizing the team. The negative attention became bigger than anything the Fever had faced, even during Clark's rookie season. When the pressure gets that high, a team has two choices: ignore it or try to control the story.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, there's frustration. I think we noticed they were trying to pick on Caitlin a little bit on defensive end. She was getting called for some fouls that, you know, fouls aren't fun. She got in some foul trouble. Our team got into some foul trouble, and that's just all it was. I think that's part of the game. There's frustrations that rise, and decisions have to be made. And ultimately, like, this wasn't something that carried on. This is in the moment, something that happened, and not something that is talked about now in our locker room, talked about even later on in the game. That's just something that happened. And unfortunately, Caitlin's got a camera on her.
Listen to how carefully this is explained. It was about foul trouble, emotions during the game, and something that happened in the moment but did not continue after the game. It sounds like a simple explanation, and it could even be true. But notice what comes at the end. Clark is always on camera, so people see every little reaction. In other words, they are saying nothing serious happened and fans are just paying too much attention. That does not really answer the questions. It shifts the focus somewhere else.
Caitlin Clark being left on an island. Nobody likes to be on foul trouble. Well, Stephanie, you're not doing anything to help us out over here. You're not doing anything to help me out. You're just letting me guard this person for 17 seconds. And then if I'm fouling them and it's questionable foul, you're just crossing your arms and not even challenging it. And then I look to the side and you're not even chopping it up with the referees to try to get clarity on the situation.
Here's why many fans are not buying that explanation. From Clark's point of view, being left alone while dealing with foul trouble was not just bad luck. They believe it was the result of a coaching decision. She was left guarding a difficult matchup for 17 seconds. Then a questionable foul was called, and the coaching staff did not challenge it. The call stood, and the referees did not change it. That is where the frustration came from. So when fans watched the video, they did not see a random emotional moment. They saw what they believe is part of a bigger pattern.
This is the funny part to me.
Camera is always on Caitlin. No matter what she says or what she does, it's going to make headlines. And I'm sure that rubs off on you and the rest of the team, knowing that when there's a camera on her, there's also a camera on you. How does she, and how do you, and how does the entire team kind of respond to that?
Honestly, it's just continuing to show up and do what you do regardless. Like, there's going to be a microscope. There was a microscope the moment she declared for the draft. There's a microscope on her in college too. But I think for us, it's continuing to show up and do our job every single day. And
this is the part that the team's response cannot fully explain. There have now been several moments where Stephanie White and Clark have been seen exchanging words during games. One time can be called an isolated incident, but when it happens more than once, people start to see it as part of their relationship. The concern is not that one sideline moment became emotional. The concern is that the tension might not end there. Fans wonder if it could carry into the next game or the next practice. That is the question Lexie Hull was asked to respond to, and it is also the question she could not completely put to rest.
Honestly, it's just continuing to show up and do what you do regardless. Like, there's going to be a microscope. There was a microscope the moment she declared for the draft. There's a microscope on her in college too. But I think for us, it's continuing to show up and do our job every single day. And
listen to the wording again. Hull says Clark has always been under a microscope, going back to college and even when she entered the WNBA draft. Then she adds, "We're not hiding anything." That is the part that stands out. People usually say they are not hiding something only when they know others are questioning them. It sounds less like a direct answer and more like a response to the criticism. Instead of clearly explaining the situation, it shifts the focus and tries to show openness.
Season, it's hard to win in the WNBA. But ultimately, it's early. And I think for us, we fully believe in each other. We fully believe in our coaching staff. And so it's just continuing to show up, put in the work, a handful of those good moments that we have as a team, as individuals, and continue to grow the sport more and more.
Lexie, that attention brings opinion, and everybody seems to have an opinion. Slow start for you guys compared to some of the expectation, which has people yelling about Coach White. So what is the relationship with Coach White with this team? How is that relationship?
We have, a great relationship. I think all of us, we know this is a long season. It's hard to win in the WNBA.
The rest of what she said follows a clear message. She says the team believes in each other, believes in the coaching staff, that the WNBA season is long, winning is difficult, and it is still early. All of those points are reasonable. She also says Clark has a great relationship with the coach. That is exactly what you would expect a teammate to say. But that is also why some people question it. When the response sounds this polished, this consistent, and comes so quickly, it can feel less like a personal opinion and more like a carefully prepared message that was ready before she spoke to the media.
This little rumor mill over here. Conversation I had. Connor not being committed. Not ready to sit down. This comes out. And the next thing you know, this comes out. The Noblesville Boom, an Indiana G League team, signs Connor McCaffrey.
Now let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture because the sideline video is only part of the story. Start with the timeline. The exchange between Stephanie White and Clark happened during Saturday's loss to Portland. By Monday, the Fever had Lexie Hull speaking to the media about it. That was a very quick response. It was not something that happened naturally over time. It looked like the team wanted to respond before the story grew even bigger. When an organization reacts that quickly, it shows they know public perception is important. Now look at who they chose to speak. They did not send Stephanie White to explain what happened. They did not send Clark either. Instead, they sent Lexie Hull, the teammate many fans see as one of Clark's closest friends. Hull also appeared in the video announcing Clark's return to Indiana. Some fans believe the idea was simple. If someone close to Clark says everything is fine, people may be more likely to believe it. That made Hull an important messenger. Some fans also point to the team's history. They say that when the organization asks people to trust them, some fans remain skeptical because the franchise has faced league discipline in the past. Because of that history, they believe it is fair to question the team's message instead of accepting it without doubt. There was also another story happening around the same time. Some people were talking about Connor McCaffrey's future and his commitment to the situation. Soon after, he accepted a player development job with the Noblesville Boom, the Indiana Pacers G League affiliate. Some fans noticed the timing and felt it fit the pattern of one story replacing another. Whether that was simply a coincidence or something more is open to interpretation. When you put everything together, you do not need a conspiracy theory to understand why people are talking. You have a first-year head coach, a generational star who plays with emotion, several visible sideline exchanges between the two, a team that responds quickly to negative headlines, and a fan base that pays close attention to every detail. That is enough to create debate. The team's response did not necessarily fail because Lexie Hull said anything wrong. She handled a difficult situation professionally. The bigger reason some fans were not convinced is that the quick and well-prepared response made the situation seem important enough to require careful management. So here is the question. When a team sends one of its most trusted players to tell everyone that everything is fine just 2 days after a viral sideline moment, does that make you trust the message more or less? Many fans believe the speed of the response says a lot. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you believe people are reading too much into a normal emotional moment during a game, share that opinion too. I would like to hear both sides. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.